So welcome everyone to our Monday morning sunrise class. So today we're going to come to sit to start. So if you find it useful to sit on a folded blanket or a brick or even a cushion, do that because it might just elevate the pelvis. But do tuck away at the back so the pelvis tucks back. You might have a little rock side to side. Might maybe roll through the shoulders a few times. And then find a place to settle. So maybe the palms are up, maybe the palms are down. So feel into what would be right for you to be able to just pause and be here. And then become aware of the feet and the legs and the sit bones just connecting into the ground. Having that solid connection with the earth. Bring your awareness to the base of the spine. And as you inhale, feel that you almost inhale all the way through the spine, the back of the neck, and out through the crown of the head. So there's like a little lift as you inhale. And then as you exhale, you could soften back down, shoulders could soften, the belly could draw in, and you just feel you sink back down into the base. So do that a couple of times. So you don't want to be rigid in the back of the body, rigid in the spine. There's a softness, but it's a kind of lightness. You just feel like you can just kind of pause here for a little while, hopefully. And then become aware of your inhale, so become aware of the length of your inhale. And if it's possible to bring it to a count of maybe 3 or 4, doing that just for a couple of rounds, just seeing what would be comfortable without creating any tension or strain. And then become more aware of the exhale, so seeing if you can begin to lengthen the exhale longer than the inhale. So maybe it's 1 or 2 counts longer than the inhale. And again, no strain, the shoulders are soft, back of the body stays soft, and we just look to gradually lengthen the exhale. And if using a count is really useful, so some days for me the count really works and it gives me a focus. And then other days it's a bit annoying. So use it if it's useful, don't if it's not. And just have a general sense of the exhale lengthening. And what I like to use as well is the ujjayi breath at the throat, so that oceanic breath. It's just like a slight rubbing at the back of the throat. And particularly when you exhale, that will help to slow the breath down. And also the drawing in of the belly. Both of those on the exhale will help you to further slow the breath. And physiologically, this really taps into the parasympathetic nervous system. So allowing the body to calm. I mean, you might be pretty calm already. It's only Monday morning. But just slows the heart rate down. Slows everything down so that we can just pause for a little while here. So this week we're hopefully going to move into a place of stillness, of knowing, a place that we can become a little bit more aware about our deep values and sense of purpose. So often the busyness of life, we can lose sight of this, our sense of purpose and what's deeply important to us. And when we move through our days without holding these values in our awareness, I love the analogy that we're like an explorer without a compass. And the end of the day might arrive, we've become sidetracked, and we feel like a deep sense that there's something not quite right. And yeah, it's that kind of like a rumbling sensation inside. So holding our values in our mind throughout our days can really help us to drive our decisions can help us to live with a bit more ease. So we'll explore this a little bit today and further through the week as well. So see how that exhale is doing. See if the mind is just completely wandered off and you're not with the exhale anymore. If that's the case, just be aware of where you wandered off to. And then on your next inhale, we'll reach the hands out to the side and all the way up to the top, opening through the shoulders, through the chest. Bring the palms together and exhale, that long exhale, hands back down into the heart space. So we're just going to see how, if it's possible, that we can stay with this lengthening exhale. So you're inhaling the arms up, exhaling the arms down. You can let go of the count when it feels right, if you're still with the count. And just have that general sense of lengthening exhale. And it might mean that your poses are, your movements are a little bit slower. The next time that you inhale up, exhale and bring the hands behind. So interlace the fingers, maybe the palms pressed together, draw the shoulder blades together, opening through the upper chest. But as you exhale, draw the belly in, draw the lower ribs in. Stay for another breath. Inhale. Still aware of that lengthening exhale, bit by bit, belly drawing in, breath moving across the throat. Your next inhale, reach the hands out to the side, all the way up to the top. And as you exhale, bring the right hand down onto the mat, stretching through the left side. Palm can face down on the left. And strong arms, so you're reaching through the fingertips. And as you exhale, there's a softening down. There's allowing that left hip to sink down into the earth. Easing into that. And then inhale, come all the way back up over to the other side. And again, a reaching through the fingertips to where is right for that side. Feel that you could breathe into the side ribs. Just taking your time. Feel that there's no rush. We could often rush our morning, because there's so many things to do. But here we can just pause for a little while. And then on your next inhale, come back up to the center. Bring both hands up. Reach. And then as you exhale, bring the hands down into the heart space. Roll over the knees into your tabletop. Move a few rounds through cat-cow with that lengthening breath. So hands are spread, fingertips are spread, hips are over the knees. You're inhaling to maybe a count of 3 or 4 or maybe 5. And then as you exhale, draw belly in. Oceanic breath across the throat. As you press into the hands, chin to chest. Inhaling to round. And exhaling. Doing that a couple more times with your breath, being with that lengthening exhale. So really our beliefs, our attitudes and our values are really what we feel is important in life. They can fuel our actions, our emotions, and also our behavior, even if we're not aware of it. And they can be subjective, and they can change a lot over time. This is what I've noticed anyway. So some, commonly held ones would be loyalty, compassion, honesty, and they can help us to kind of answer questions about what's going on for us as well. So when we have deep questions within about maybe what our life stands for, it can really help us to kind of drive our life forward. So the next time you exhale, complete that breath and come back to the center. Bring the hands forward a little, tuck the toes, and then into your down dog. Have a little check-in with the hands, so the fingertips are still spread. Equal weight across the palms, or moving towards that each time you come to your down dog. You can walk out through the legs, have hip distance between the feet. Just easing off the backs of the legs. And still, as you move through here, there's a lengthening of that exhale, which probably means you're going to move a little bit slower today. So we'll still flow, but we might pause in some of the poses for a little bit longer so that we can feel that lengthening exhale. And remember that your movement should be driven by the breath. So when you inhale, you move, and then you pause at the top of the breath, and the movement pauses. And the same with the exhale. So your movement on the exhale should actually be a little bit slower. So see if we can connect both of those a little bit today. So pause in your down dog, lift the pelvis, inhale. And as you exhale, soften the head in between the arms, let go of the head, let go of the neck. And then gaze forward, walk the feet to the top of the mat. Feet still in hip distance, parallel, release the head. You could take opposite elbows, have a rock side to side. And again, just make sure the head is releasing the neck, the jaw. And then release the hands, bend into the knees a little as you inhale, bring the hands all the way up to the top, come up to stand, bring the hands into the heart space. Take a long deep breath in here. And a long exhale, belly drawing in, sink into the feet. Take an inhale, reach the hands all the way up to the top. And as you exhale, folding forward. So remember that long exhale, movement might be a little bit slower. Breath stops, movement stops. Inhale for your half lift. Step back with left leg and right leg, so you're into your plank. You can always drop the knees. If it feels a bit too early to be doing a plank, then drop the knees. Take a long inhale and a long exhale. Allow the weight to come forward a little, knees to come down, and chin and down onto the mat. Take an inhale for your cobra. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Draw the elbows into the body. And then as you exhale, travel back through your child's pose into your down dog. Take an inhale in your down dog, lift the pelvis. Be aware of the hands again. Spread the weight across the hands. There might be a little bend into the elbows if you feel like you lock out the elbows a little. And then gazing forward, take an inhale, step left leg, then right leg. Moving into your half lift. And then exhale, fold in over the legs. Press down through the feet, take an inhale, come all the way up to stand, reaching up through the hands. And exhale the hands into the heart space. Doing that one more time with your breath. Inhale, reaching the hands up. Long exhale as you bend from the hips all the way down. Release the hands, release the head. Inhale for your half lift, plant the hands down, step right leg, then left leg. Pausing in your plank or dropping the knees. If you're in your plank, you're pushing back through the heels, drawing the belly in. Take another inhale. And as you exhale, the weight comes forward ever so slightly, then drop the knees, chin and chest. And yeah, elbows in, lovely. Inhale for your cobra. Your cobra might start to get a little bit higher as you warm up, and then you're exhaling back through your down dog. Beautiful. So just a really nice way to warm the spine, warm the body up. So in your down dog, take an inhale and lift the right leg. And then bend the knee and feel as if you were allowing that right foot to go over to the left. And send that left heel towards the mat. And then have a check back in with the hands and the shoulders. So you might need to drop the right shoulder down as you open up the right side. You don't want to open up the right shoulder, but the right side of the body and the right hip. And then take another big inhale. And can you lift that right knee just a tiny bit further? And then as you exhale, the weight coming forward and then the right foot coming forward. You can drop the left knee, make sure the right knee is over the ankle. Take an inhale to sweep the arms into your lunge. And as you exhale, draw the belly in. You might sink into that a little bit, draw back, tailbone lengthening, shoulders softening. Pausing there. So as you inhale, Feel that breath lifting you, so you've got that breath moving across the spine. And as you exhale, softening through the shoulders, belly drawing in and sinking down. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, release. You can move through a vinyasa if that feels good, or just go straight back to down dog. So if that's going to be a better place for you to be today. So really when we're not aligned with our values, the world will let us know. This is what I've found anyway. You might feel stressed, resentful, irritated. It could be so many different things. But all of these are kind of a sign that you've strayed off course, that you've gone off from where your values really lie, what you feel that your purpose in life is. So when it occurs, you can then scan your values and to find that kind of way back home. So when you from your down dog, take an inhale, lift the left leg. As you exhale, bend the knee. Open up through that left side, send that right heel towards the mat. And then just check in with the hands and the shoulder again, dropping that left shoulder, opening through that side. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, the weight comes forward, the foot comes forward, and then plant the right knee down. Take an inhale to sweep into your lunge, drawing back, softening shoulders, pausing there for a couple of breaths. And really feel that you could draw that left hip in. And really feeling those lengthening exhales, drawing you down into the body, into that wise heart and also the wise belly. The last week was very much about the heart, but we've also got wisdom stored in the belly as well. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, fold all the way through. If it feels good to do a vinyasa, then absolutely go for it, but maybe just back to your down dog. So the best way that I feel that I can kind of explain this is to use some of my own examples. So basically when I feel overwhelmed in my work, this feels like a direct opposition to two of my core values. So one of them is self-care, and one of them is being in service. So basically when I feel this, when I become aware, because at the end of the day, this is what we need to do, become aware of this, I can scan my values, which provides me with a kind of guide. And then I'll identify a principle that will bring me back into being in alignment with these values. So in this case, my principle for self-care is practice, pause, and pace. So that's what I do when I feel that overwhelm. So from your down dog, take an inhale, step left leg, then right leg, moving into your half lift. And exhale, fold in over yourself. Bend through the knees, take an inhale, hands all the way up to the top. And then exhale, bringing the hands into the heart space. Moving into our chair, so feet together or feet hip distance, whichever works. Bending into the knees. Inhale to sweep the arms up. And we'll pause here for a few breaths. So allow the belly to draw in. Lengthen the tailbone, weight into the heels. Hands reaching up or at shoulder height, whichever works for you. And just be aware of that breath again. Every now and again, you might just want to count the breath in. Count the breath out. And just see, because the postures are obviously going to impact the breath. They're going to change the breath a little. So it might be a little bit harder in some poses to get a longer exhale, but just see. See what's possible. And then take another inhale. And then as you exhale, release all the way through. Inhale for your half lift. And then step back with the left leg. Plant the outside of the foot onto the mat. Take an inhale and come up into your warrior one. So for this, you don't want heel to heel alignment. You want the feet further away from one another. So moving like as if you were on a train track. And then you're bending down into that right knee, but the knee stays over the ankle. Draw back through the right hip, left hip drawing forward, but the left heel stays onto the mat. Belly drawing in, reach the hands up. Take another inhale, reach up through the fingertips and straighten that right leg. Take another inhale, reach through the fingertips so that the spine is nice and long. And then as you exhale, we're going to fold forward over that right leg. So as you fold, draw that right hip back and then allow the hands to come down over that leg. If you did have a brick or anything, then you could, it can help to kind of feel that the ground isn't so far away. And then take another inhale, find length. And then as you exhale, fold in over that leg. So easing into opening the hamstring and straightening the leg. But it's just kind of bit by bit. Let the head release. So let the head be really soft. Let the jaw be soft. And feel that you could direct the breath into the back of the leg. So another example from me would be when I'm procrastinating, when I'm like, oh, I'll get that done later. So this usually for me surfaces as a kind of feeling of unease, and I will feel it within. It will be a clear conflict with my value of learning. And when I recognize this, I try to practice consistency to get back on track. So instead of thinking and talking and negotiating with myself, which is often what happens, I start to do, even if it's in little things that I can do to get back into that. So it feels to me that this is all about becoming aware of the things that are happening around us, the things that are happening in our minds, and exploring them. You know, not just thinking, oh, that's just the way it is. Actually exploring them and see, how can I shift this energy? How can I shift how I'm feeling at the moment? So on your next inhale, find some length through the back of the body. Gaze forward, draw the belly in, and then bring the hands onto the hips. And then inhale to come all the way up to the top. And then we'll turn, so now you're facing mid side of your mat, and the outsides of the feet are pressing down. So draw the toes in towards one another. Hands onto the hips, take an inhale. And then as you exhale, fold forward through the hips. A little bend into the knees perhaps, if you need that to come down. And then it's just a wide leg forward fold. You might feel you can go a little bit wider. And if the hands easily come down onto the mat, great. But a brick or something might just give you a little feel that the ground is not so far away. So as you inhale, find that length. And as you exhale, fold in over the legs. And you might walk the hands in between the legs. You might allow a little bit of weight to come into the toes. Soften the shoulders. Easing into that. So really pressing through the outsides of the feet. Let go of the head. Nice deep breaths. Really feel that you can connect into that exhale and into that ujjayi breath, that oceanic breath at the back of the throat. It's really soothing, really calming for the body. Can really help to take you within. And then on your next inhale, come back onto the fingertips. So you're kind of gazing forward, half lift. Exhale, draw the belly in. Bring the hands back onto the hips. Take an inhale, coming all the way up. Bring that right foot forward again. Reach through the hands. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, hands hovering all the way through. And you can step back, move through a vinyasa. Or just back to down dog. Or even pause in a child's pose if you feel you need that. Lovely. And then from your down dog, take an inhale to step or hop the feet to the top of the mat. Half lift, exhale, fold in. Back to your chair, so either feet together or feet hip distance. Take an inhale, reaching the hands up, drawing the belly in, lengthening tailbone, connect in through the thighs. So particularly if the feet are away from one another, really connect in so the knees are not splaying out or in. They're really, really strong here. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, folding forward, perhaps a little bit slower than you normally would. Inhale for your half lift. And then we'll step back with the right leg, plant the foot onto the mat, take an inhale to come into your warrior one. Adjust the feet where you need to, draw in through the belly, long tailbone, sink down into that leg, draw the left hip in. Reaching up through the fingertips, but at the same time softening the shoulders, lower ribs drawing in. Take another inhale, reach up through the fingertips, straighten that left leg. And then as you exhale, begin to fold forward. And as you fold forward, draw that left hip back so that you can fold over that left leg and ease yourself into that pose, whether you need support or just hands either side. And just gradually lengthening the leg. If it's very uncomfortable, you could always bring that right knee down. I probably should have said that on the other side. So ease your way in. Make sure that you're releasing the head and the jaw. And one of the things to note about the values as well is that they can also kind of interact. So an example would be for one of mine being in service and learning, always learning. So sometimes these can conflict with my self-care value. So if I'm feeling like really depleted, I'm having an off day, I try not to give myself a hard time if I'm not getting things done. It's not always easy. So this will also include self-compassion, which is a big one for me, and being kind to myself. So like in this case, the self-care value will always come first, for me anyway. And that becomes my most important thing, this practice, pace and pause, really, really important for me, because I feel that when I do that, everything else falls into place. So really it's for you to kind of consider, what are your values? How do they interact in your life? Are there ones that are kind of under the surface that you haven't kind of been fully aware of yet? So when you're ready, take another inhale, find length. As you exhale, draw the belly in, bring the hands onto the hips. Take an inhale to come all the way up to the top. Again, turning the feet so that you're facing the side of your mat, toes drawing in towards one another. And then this time you could inhale, reach the hands out to the side. Exhale, bring them behind, interlace. Take an inhale, draw the shoulder blades together, and then as you exhale, fold forward and all the way through. If that makes you feel unbalanced, then obviously just bring the hands back down onto the mat. But you could perhaps start to release the hands away from the back, depending on how the shoulders are. So really easing into that. But really use the legs. So press through the outsides of the feet. Engage the legs. And you can always have a little bend into the knees as well, if that feels like really tight. It doesn't need to be dead straight legs. Let go of the head. Feel that you can release here. And just coming back to those long exhales. And then on your next inhale, gaze forward, bend into the knees a little, come all the way back up. Turn the left toes forward. Inhale, reach through the hands, and exhale all the way through. And you know the options, vinyasa or just have a little pause. Lovely. And then from your down dog, take an inhale to step or hop the feet to the top of the mat. Find your half lift. Exhale, folding in. Press through the feet, take an inhale to come all the way up to stand. And exhale to bring the hands into the heart space. Take a long breath in and a long breath out. And really press through that left foot. So we're going to go into tree. Spread the toes, plant the foot down, draw up through the leg. And then lift the heel on the right, bring the knee out to the side. And then choose where the foot goes. The big toe might still be on the mat. So let that be the case, if that's where you need to be. Or maybe the foot comes high into the thigh. It doesn't really matter, but find a place where you can pause. And then as you inhale, feel that you have awareness at the tailbone, the very base of the spine. And then as you inhale, the breath moves all the way through the spine and lifts you up a little bit higher. It's like that energetic lift. The chest lifts a little. And each time you exhale, sink back down into the earth. Being aware of those breaths. And a way to kind of become more aware of your values is to consider the last time that you felt really inspired, really connected, really like there was a drive within. Consider like what you were doing, where you were, who you were with. Basically the things that kind of really bring you alive. Create that fire within, create that light. And that might help to kind of decipher and get a little bit closer to having that detail of purpose, which you may already have in your life. You may know exactly why you are on this earth. And you've just got to go and do it. So you could take another inhale, reach the hands over the head. Exhale the hands out to the side. You could play around with closing the eyes. See what happens. And then inhale, bring the hands back together. Exhale the hands down. Draw the knee back into the center. Press through the heel, lengthen the leg away for a moment. Drop down through the hip. Take an inhale. Can you lift the foot a little bit higher? And then as you exhale, release. Give that standing leg a shake. Standing onto the right, spread the toes, plant the foot down, drawing all the way up. Lift the heel, knee out to the side, and pause again in that tree. So it's said that we have a belly brain and a heart brain. And it's just that the thinking brain often just takes over. It's far louder than the belly and the heart. But the belly and the heart is where the intuition is, where we just have those feelings where something is just right or wrong even. And there's like a knowing. And that's the place that we really want to listen to. Try not to listen to the head too much. It can be useful. But it's the belly and the heart that will really guide us and help us to find our purpose or drive that purpose forward. Sometimes there can be decisions that we have to make, and it's hard to listen to the heart and the belly because it's kind of conflicting with what the mind says. But often what the belly and the heart says is truth. Whereas the mind is just working on conditioning and our habits. So if you want to bring the hands over the head, take an inhale, reach them up. Out to the side, play around with closing the eyes just for a split second perhaps. And then take an inhale, bring them back and down, and bring the knee into the center, lengthen the leg, press through the heel. Take an inhale, lift the foot a little bit higher, and then exhale, release. Give it a shake. And then we'll flow down to sit. So inhale, reach the hands up, and exhale, fold all the way through. Inhale for your half lift, and exhale, traveling back. So if you feel you would like another vinyasa, do take it, or just sit back to your child's pose, which is where we'll all just pause for a couple of breaths. And if you want to keep it active, you could keep your child's pose. You could, when you get there, you could reach the hands forward, or you could keep the hands beside the body to make it soft for the shoulders. Choose which is right. And if you're staying active, take an inhale and reach the fingertips forward. You might even lift the palms. So opening a little bit into the shoulders. And as you exhale, soften back towards the heels. So again, it's creating that length in the back. Opening into the shoulder blades. Releasing any tension there. And then on your next inhale, come all the way up to your tabletop. Release the legs. Coming to sit. We'll take an inhale, reach the hands up. And as you exhale, bring the right arm close to the body and bring the left elbow over the top. So eagle arms, if that's a comfortable place for you to be, or take the shoulders. So feel into which would be right. If it's eagle arms, just lift the elbows a little and draw the hands slightly away from the head. It's like tiny movements. So just feel into that, just opening a little bit further into the shoulders. Have the fingertips pointing up if you're in your eagle arms, so you're not twisting into the wrists. And again, as you inhale, you're lengthening through the spine. Exhaling, drawing the belly in. So this is said to be a pose that's very good for focusing, drawing us inwards. The eyes might even close if that feels comfortable. And you just have that listening in for that inner compass, those values, that purpose in life. And then the next time that you inhale, reach the hands out to the side, all the way up to the top. And then as you exhale, the other side, so the right arm, left arm comes close to the body, and other elbow over the top. It would be the right elbow, won't it? I'm doing the opposite. And either your eagle arms or you just take the shoulders. It can be just as effective having the shoulders. Giving yourself a hug. A little bit of a lift through the elbows if you're in your eagle arms, drawing the hands away from the head. And again, just that pause. If it's helpful to count the breath in and out, then you do that. And that might just help you to focus the mind, so the mind isn't kind of wandering off, so that you can listen in to the belly brain and the heart brain. And then on your next inhale, reach the hands out and up. And then bring them down into the heart space. And then coming down onto your back. Hug the knees into the chest. Have a little rock side to side. And then reach in between the knees to take hold of the ankles, your happy baby. You could stay there or take the sides of the feet Lengthen the tailbone. I think if you take the sides of the feet, keep it a little bit more active. So really connect in through the belly as you exhale and lengthen tailbone. Soften the shoulders down, chin towards the chest. Keep it a little bit softer, particularly if the back of the body's feeling a bit tight. Just take the ankles and let that happen quite naturally. Lovely. And then take another inhale. And as you exhale, release the feet. Bring them a little bit wider than the hips. Keep the feet on the ground. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, bring the knees to the left. And then you can either stay there, pause, or you could inhale straight back up and then exhale to the other side. Sometimes movement side to side is a little bit easier for releasing tension, or sometimes a pause. So listen in. Do you want to move with the breath, or do you just want to pause there? And then when you're ready, when you come back up to the center, move into a Shavasana that would make sense for you. Make sure that the shoulders are releasing, the chin is towards the chest, and the back, the lower back, is happy. It's not niggling. And you can feel that you can rest into the earth. And allowing the whispers of your belly brain, of your heart brain, to just roll through your consciousness. Feel that you could allow that inspiration, that fire within to be there, to warm you, to warm your heart. And consider the small things that you can do each day to bring the values to life, to bring your purpose to life. Maybe it's just simply committing to slowing down, to have time. For me, that's probably the most important thing. Everything else falls into place when I do it. Maybe it's a commitment to listen to your heart. Or maybe to forgive more, to be compassionate, to have small gestures of love or gratitude, and taking every opportunity that life kind of throws at you to learn or to contribute. Really feeling that you can stoke that fire so that you can live your one precious life the way that you want to. So taking another long inhale. Maybe there's a sigh out through the mouth. And then movement, fingers and toes, and maybe having a big stretch, moving the head side to side. And drawing the knees in. Slowly, slowly coming back. And coming to sit, bringing the hands into the heart center, being aware of your practice and bowing down towards hands, towards heart. So may you move through your days with an awareness of what is important to you, but also then the courage to bring them alive. Closing with one Om, take a deep breath in. Om. So thank you for your practice. Namaste.